Musician's Corner on Timeless and Irish with Billy Donegan.
And today I'm joined by singer and musician Neily OConnor from Kilcummin. Neily, you're very welcome to Musician's Corner.
Thank you very much, Billy, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
So tell us when you first learned how to play the accordion.
Oh, Billy, I'm still learning, but the first time I picked it up was at the age of 3, and I loved music. I was born into music. Nobody had to tell me to practice. I practiced every night, every morning before I went to school. First time I played on stage was with my brother Teddy and my father. They played every Sunday night in the Cruishkin Lawn in Killarglen. I can remember the night. I can't remember my age, but the reason I know my age is because Eugene Ferris, the Killarney photographer, told me some time back, he said, I remember the first night that you played on stage, and I remember your age. So Billy told me, Eugene Ferris told me that I was 7 years of age. So yeah, I just loved music from there on then.
Mm-hmm. And when did you start your own first band?
My own first band was called the Valley Rovers, probably about 18 years of age. And my brother Tomas was playing the drums with me, and Martin Williams was the lead singer at the time. We were together, I'd say, probably 10 or 15 years. We did a lot of work with a great little band, with great times. We travelled a lot. We travelled to the UK. We did a lot of weddings. And Martin started his own band then, Martin Williams Nostalgia, went on to be a great wedding band, and my brother Tomas decided to go travelling the world. So I continued on with the band then, and Paddy the Tailor from Scotland came in as my drummer, and different guitarists as well. I was always very lucky with guitarists. They were all great musicians, from Dan Brown to Nicholas Maloney to Sean Tracy, Henry Bartlett, wonderful lead guitar player and a fantastic singer. And that band did very well as well. We even went to the States a lot, and at the wedding scene as well.
And then when did you start your recording career?
Recording career, well, I know I recorded my first album probably around 19 or 20. I did some songs on that, and I concentrated a bit more on the traditional side as well. My first single was probably, I think it was Carrickfergus. That came about it wasn't even planned. I was playing in Horden's in Tralee here on one particular night. And Billy Curtin came in with his saxophone. He was after gigging somewhere as well, and a request came from the audience to see would Billy do an instrumental. So Billy comes up, and Billy, the way Billy would walk up, and Billy was such a nice, polite man. He didn't want to do an instrumental. He said, "Lads, I'll just fall in with G." And we were both kind of scratching our heads, and what song will suit us both, and just Carrickfergus. So Billy pulled out the sax, and geez, I can still remember the lead that he did into that. It was absolutely magical, and the instrumental was brilliant, and Billy got a standing ovation after that, and I just knew the song had to be recorded. So I just I recorded it then with Pat Donegan, and Billy, I was so lucky to have him on that track as well, because I think that got a load of airplay, and definitely Billy Curtin, he did a lot on that track for me.
Now, I know you write some of your own songs.
Some I do, yes.
So going back along, when would have been the first?
Probably the first one, it was on a winter's night. I got a phone call from a man that I never heard his name before, Tommy James, and a lovely man. He rings me and he says, "Neily, would you record a song for me?" I said, "I will." I said, "What song is it?" He said, "I only have the words." Oh, I said, "That's fine, it makes it more interesting." So I took out my piece of paper and I wrote down the words. I composed the music for it, and we released that song for Crumlin Hospital in Dublin. The title of the song was "When Our Day Will Come," and that song was in the National Irish charts for, I think, 26 weeks, and it was top-selling single, I think, in Munster for about 6 weeks, and it raised over 15,000 then for our Children's Hospital in Crumlin in Dublin.
Now, another song, of course, that has done very well for you recently is Eileen McMahon. So where did you find Eileen McMahon?
Where did I find Eileen McMahon? Well, I heard the song. Well, I suppose it's an old song, and we kind of always knew it was there. But the first time I heard it in reality being sung was at a function that I was playing for in Killarney about 3-4 years ago. A lady from Kanturk, she was at the function, and a request came up for her to sing, and she came up, and once again she was thinking which song would I sing, and she sang Eileen McMahon, and I really loved it. But it never dawned on me I should record it right then. So a year later, I was playing for the same function, and the same lady was at the same function, and she sang the same song again, and once again, I just loved that song. So then we got into our first lockdown, and I would say it was a good thing, of course, in one sense, because my voice definitely needed a break. I never gave myself a break in 30 years in the music business, and I always said to myself, I'd like to take a break. So during the break anyway, a friend of mine, Jimmy Donegan, he was speaking to me during lockdown. He said, you know, while you're off, you should record Eileen McMahon. And I said, that's amazing. I said, I love the song. But I said to him, did you really think it will suit me? He said, I do. You're a Killarney man. It's a Killarney song. He said, it's made for you. So I recorded the song. And I recorded with Pat again, and Pat Donegan. And we released the song. And yeah, I'm delighted really with the reaction the song is after getting.
Last night as I lay on my pillow, when a vision came into my view of a ship sailing out o'er the ocean, and the wind it tremendously blew. On the deck stood a handsome fair maiden, her features I'd ne'er seen before, as she sighed for the wrong of her country, saying, I'm banished from Erin's green shore. My name it is Eileen McMahon. My age it is scarcely 16, and I thank you, good health, for your kindness, for you don't know how lonesome I've been. For the want of employment in Ireland, I was forced as an exile to roam far away from my home in Killarney. In childhood I longed for to roam far away from the mountains and valley, from Punchbowl to the Gap of Dunlow, all around by the shores of sweet Muckross, and that beautiful spot Argo. Now the ship on the ocean has vanished, but in fancy I'd see her once more. My beautiful Eileen McMahon, you're the pride of Erin's green shore. You're the pride of Erin's green shore.
And that's Eileen McMahon, sung there by Neily OConnor, and that's a song that has done very well for you.
Thank you, Billy. Yeah, it is after doing very well. It got into the country charts in the UK. It was there in the top 10 for several, maybe 10, maybe more weeks. It did very well in the local Irish charts as well in Ireland. And I've been to say earlier on as well, before I did record it, there was several versions really of Eileen McMahon out. And I went back over them and I listened to different versions. Even it has been called Eileen McManus as well. And I was wondering, and I kind of, which is correct. So I kind of did a lot of research, and this is the version that I felt was the version. So I went into Dermot Moriarty before I ever released it, and I asked Dermot to have a listen. And Dermot kind of reliably informed me that was a good version, and it was the right version. So I was very happy with that.
Now, you have a modern wedding band, but you also have a Ceilidh band. So tell us about the Ceilidh scene.
Yeah, it was to keep the interest going as well, really and truly. Do you know what I mean? You were doing so many weddings, so many private functions. I decided to get into the Ceilidh scene probably maybe 10 or 12 years ago. So I set up a Ceilidh band with banjo, flute and accordion keyboards. And the Ceilidh scene is a scene that can have you all over the country. It's one of those scenes before you even know it. So I really enjoying that, and we do an awful lot of travelling. Will I keep up all the travelling? That remains to be seen, but I don't regret it. I really enjoy the Ceilidh scene as well.
You've played outside of Ireland.
I have. I travel with Enjoy Travel. We do Spain, we do Portugal. I've gone to Chicago many occasions playing in Gaelic Park. So yeah, I love the travelling as well, and it's great to be exporting your tradition all over the world. I really enjoy that as well, and coming from the heart to Slieve Lucra, sure, who wouldn't?
And we come to your latest release, which is written by yourself.
Well, I won't take all the credit for it, but I was actually working on another song to follow Eileen McMahon. And I'm a good man for, I suppose, looking at poems, reading poems, and seeing is there any poem that would suit me. And I was working on another song as I was saying when I came across this poem, and the words just... the reaction that I had to the words was amazing, and the test of words for me is when they just stay in my memory straight away. And even the following day, the words of To Live It All Over Again was on my mind. So yeah, I composed the music of it, and we released it, and I can't get over how successful that song is doing. So I'm just so delighted, and thank you to everyone that's requesting that song.
I would turn back the clock. I'd go back to that house at the end of the block, the house that was home when I was a kid, knowing I'd love it more now than I did. If I could be back there at my mother's knee and hear once again all the things she told to me, I'd listen as I never listened before. sunshine and a little less rain. And all the advice my dad used to give, his voice I'll remember for as long as I live. But it didn't seem really important back then. But I'd give to live it all over again. But it didn't seem really important back then. But I'd give to live it all over again.
To live it all over again, the latest hit there from Neily OConnor. Neily, how have you been coping with the lockdown?
Quite well, to be honest. Now, do I miss the music? Of course. I miss the performing. I miss the adrenaline when I come off the stage and meeting people. I don't miss the stress that's attached to it, because there is a lot of stress. And I didn't realise how stressful it really was until there was a lockdown. And I was just thinking today, you know, when somebody even books you for a wedding, they're always booking maybe 2 years in advance, maybe 12 months, and that's for every band. And they book you for a reason. And obviously they want you to play for their wedding and they want the best day of their life. And so there's a lot of stress in all of that. And we do because we want to do it and we love doing it. So I suppose the stressful side is the part I don't miss, but definitely the performing is the part that I do miss. And of course, I'm hoping that the live music is going to return before long.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there anyone that you want to say thanks to or mention?
Well, if I start mentioning names, I'll be here until tomorrow. I'd like to thank everyone that supported me through the music business all my entire life. I'd like to thank my family. I'd like to thank everybody really that's requesting the songs and requesting the music.
Neily, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Billy.
Musician's Corner on Timeless and Irish with Billy Donegan.